What's up, world? It's your boy DJ47. Thanks for tuning in to our YouTube page. If you like what you see, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to us as we hit you with new videos every week. 1.
You're now listening to the sounds of KDPG Radio. Keep the party going.
Yeah, it's your boy DJ47, and this is another episode of the One Shot Jail podcast with my guest, DJ Mike. This is the 5-part interview, and the first episode airs right now. So, back it up a little. You said it was the Olympia Theater. Where is that located?
All right, so the Olympia Theater is located in downtown. It's what used to be the Gusman Center.
Downtown.
It's off of Flagler Street, like right next to where the James L. Knight Center is.
Okay.
So
Is
like
it outdoor or indoor?
No, it's indoor.
Okay.
And it's a historic theater. It's been there since the 1920s. People like Elvis and Diana Ross and all those people used to play concerts there back in the day. For a long time, they've continued to do that type of content where they'll bring in big acts and
what's
do
the capacity?
Concerts and stuff. I want to say it's like 4,000. It might be a little bit more.
Yeah, because I know this one spot, but it's not. It's on the beach, like more upper to the beach. It had a nice little stage, and I thought that's what you were talking about. But no, you're talking about downtown, so it's something totally different and all.
Yeah. What spot on the beach are you talking about?
It was an outdoor thing. Like I went there one time. It's like, you know where Miami Live is. They do open mics over there. It's like it's not in the beginning where Washington Ave is. It's more further. Which actually, Washington is actually towards the end, but it's like towards the beginning. It's like in this cut. It's like a big circle. Like when you drive.
Is it the Colony?
I think it could be that. It's outdoor thing.
Yeah.
It has a nice stage area, and then they have like little patio seatings type of things where you sit down, and it's kind of like a U.
I feel like it might be the Colony.
I think that's what it is.
It's not because there's another spot up there called the Band Shell, but that's
it's not that. It might be the Colony where it's like. I went there. I was like, I never knew that was there. I went to it probably last year, obviously, because nothing happened this year, and I thought it was a nice spot. I never knew that was there. So when you're talking and I'm picturing it, I thought that's where you were talking about. But you said it's an indoor thing next to the James L. Knight Center downtown. I thought James L. wasn't on the beach.
No, James L. Knight Center is. Right when you're
getting off the exit and you make that. It's next to the hotel.
Yeah.
I seen Cat Williams.
Right before you go over the bridge to Brickell.
Yeah. Okay, I see Cat Williams perform there though. Okay.
So the Olympia is like 2 blocks away from there. It's like on First and Flagler, and it's like right in the heart of downtown. I mean, most of that area now is. It's like the bad part of downtown where all the shops and stuff are closing. Well,
I noticed like going in and out of town, there's a lot of like when they do like build arenas, like the Miami Heat arena, where I don't know if you know when it was the Miami Heat before it was the airline arena, it was the Miami arena. It was in Overtown. You know what I'm saying? And when I go to New York, in Brooklyn, the Barclays Center, it's in Bed-Stuy, like that. Like the baseball field over here, I see they normally put all these arenas and stadiums in like low income houses and all like that.
Yeah, part of it is like when they build a new one, it's just cheap.
That's what I was thinking. Like the area must be cheap and all. That's why they do it.
The thing about the Olympia is like that thing was just built when downtown was Miami, like before Brickell, before all these like huge expansions.
Yeah, what year you said it came out?
Like in the 20s.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been there. When it first opened, it was like the Paramount Studios.
Yeah.
It was their theater.
So you're saying they're going to shut it down, or now because of the coronavirus they have the opportunity to shut it down?
Yeah, now. See, the Olympia has been fighting off all these big real estate investors and stuff that are trying to buy up all these spots in downtown and create like the new Brickell.
Yeah.
Like create all these new massive buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know they did it with the Grove.
Right. See, it's funny you mentioned the Grove because that's where I started DJing, And when I was DJing there was all these talks about all that, but they couldn't do it because places like Mr. Mo's were protected under the historic, like they were grandfathered in, and they were historic sites. Of Miami.
That's what I heard about Cameo too. It's a landmark. That's
Exactly. So a lot of these places, like, there's these real estate groups, man, that they're just coming in. They're trying to buy everything, and the Olympia's been able to fight it off because they've had a lot of community support and because they've remained active. But we're talking about almost a year now of having their doors closed, no income, no big shows. So it seems like it's an opportunity, an opening for all these people that had already been wanting to like finagle their way in there. Now they have an excuse. It's like, well, you guys aren't generating any revenue. You guys aren't doing any shows. It's just a closed space. So unfortunately, that's what happens.
And that, I mean, that's hard because like it's not like we're entertainers. We're saying, we want to take a break. Like we want to work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to work. So I don't understand how can they take something, or at least try to take something. I mean, we're in the big bad world. Money talks, bullshit walks. They don't give a flying fuck.
And politics, man.
Yeah. But it's just hard. It's like, dude, it's like, this could make, and was it making income?
It was. They actually, before the coronavirus hit, they were booked all the way through October with big shows. I mean, they have a lot of big acts. They have a lot of big comedians, a lot of like podcasts. Like recently they had the Last Podcast to the Left. I don't know if you ever heard of them. But they came out and they did their show there. The Miami Film Festival always does their show at the Olympia.
So it brings in, when you're saying the festival, it also brings in tourists. It's a tourist attraction.
Oh yeah. Another big event that they have every year is Recent Cinema from Spain, and that brings in a bunch of people from Spain, Spanish artists, also European artists, that are into that market. And they do festivals there too.
And let me ask you something. You're assuming that they're going to, or that's in the process?
No, unfortunately, I don't know, because there's very few people that know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah. Right now it's on a he say, she say.
But someone very close to us, like we were the resident theater group doing our shows there. We would do our shows every third Wednesday of the month. And our director works at the Olympia, or worked. She recently got furloughed. And, it's just the vibe that we're getting. The vibe that we got after the quarantine hit was, we gotta start looking at ways to either reinvent ourselves or expand into a new audience.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know if I told you that when I interviewed this rapper about 2 weeks ago. I said the same thing. I said, for someone who's not there yet, like a Cardi B or a Drake or a Jay-Z's, like, and that includes myself, that's not there yet. Like, how do you reinvent yourself, keep your act fresh, and keep people wanting to keep listening to you or seeing what you're doing, when they're just getting just as frustrated as you are and like that, and they don't need to care for you because they're going through. It's not like they don't give a damn about you. They're just going through their own shit where I don't care about your new shit. I don't care. Give me something that I know. Give me a Jay-Z album that I can just relax to or something like that. Right. So it's like it's frustrating. I don't know if I was telling you that. It's frustrating sometimes going live and not. I might get 1 or 2 people on. Sometimes I get 10 to 15 people on like that, and sometimes it's nobody on, and it's like, it's sometimes you got to just keep going and all, and hope that you don't fade out before whenever the doors reopen. And it's sad to say that when it comes to a close, which we all know eventually things will get back to normal, but how much damage did it cause? Because you're saying something like that, which is a historic place, and I don't think I've ever been there, but it just seems like it's important for acts like such as yourself and me, who who just want an opportunity, and there's a place to showcase that, and it might be taken away. And then when you go from there, then you go do what you said earlier, the typical what everybody else is doing.
Right.
When you had a stage for that's a well-known place for people to come, now it's go on YouTube and hope they click on it.
Right. I mean, that for sure is one thing. You have to adapt. That's for sure. You have to adapt to the situation. You know, I would say for people like us, it's more urgent now to just keep going. You know, keep creating content, keep doing what we do, because even if it's in a different format, in a different medium, you know, we were doing live shows. We're moving on to a YouTube channel, creating our own video content. It's a lot of the same of what we were doing. We're just doing it for a different medium now, because what our shows were at the Olympia was sketch comedy and improv.
I gotta see that. You gotta show me that on there, because that's something that I do enjoy, and I'm like, damn, can I get down? Like, I want to try it out. I know it's not as easy as it looks. Am I right or wrong?
You know, the thing about improv is it's easier if you're a kid.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, you're already yes-anding everything. You're already living in like an imaginary world where, like, you know, you talk to a kid and you're like, I don't know. Oh, look at the dinosaur over there. You know, the kid's gonna be like, oh yeah, look at the dinosaur. Yeah. And they'll help paint it. For us adults, it kind of gets harder because we get all that stuff broken out of us. And correct me if I'm wrong. And when it goes to improv comedy, everything is yes, right? Yeah, everything is yes. Yeah, and that's a hard thing to do for adults. Yeah. You know. How long you been doing it? I've been doing it consistently for about 5 years now. I mean, I studied theater in college and stuff like that, so I always had a little bit of a handle on it. Yeah, that's something that I try to bring to the podcast that we do every Saturday. I'm trying to explain to them that say yes to everything. You know, I mean, don't take offense to anything someone's saying. Just charm into the conversation and tell your own story, you know. Yeah. I always say, if someone says, yo, man, I remember when I punched you in the eye? Just be like, yeah, I know, man, that hurt, man, but I'm going to get you back. Remember I said, just, you know, keep it going. Don't be like, yeah, I never punched me in the eye. Ain't nobody touching me. Like, stop acting so tough and enjoy the thing. That kind of resistance is not a good impression. I'm in the search right now for a comedian to put their own podcast together. Like, I believe I'm funny, but not comedian funny where it can carry on. So I would love to have I'm their sidekick. You have the comedian, you know, they're telling whatever. They don't have to do stand-up all day. Just be funny whatever we're talking about, and I can just charm in and be their sidekick and all like that. But I'm definitely looking for that, because I think that would be entertaining, you know. Well, that's definitely a good tool for podcasts. A lot of the podcast formats that I like, usually they have like the straight man that's like giving information, and then they always have like either a comedian or maybe like a voiceover artist or something like that, somebody that knows how to do voices. Yeah, it brings a little satire. Yeah, because especially if you're going like what you're doing with the YouTube or anything live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, you know, YouTube Live, I think, you know, comedy is the best out of all, especially if you're just sitting there and watching, and, you know, like, I DJ live on a thing. Okay, I DJ live, so does Sandman, so does DJ Epps, so does Richie D, so does, you know, even DJ Kid Capri, and well known. So it's just me against a bunch of, and I'm not afraid of competition. I'll go and then I'll you know, DJ with the best of them and like that. But it's the same thing. I haven't seen, or you see people interviewing people. I haven't seen someone just be silly and being funny. Right. So it's like, let me see if I can add that to the repertoire and all like that. For sure, man. You know, I'm not necessarily a comedian, but I know them. So. You know comedian? I'll definitely. So you got to plug me in, man. I'll definitely put in the good word. Tell them to get on the DJ 47 podcast. Yeah, that would definitely. That's why I'm trying to. The goal is to fill in the weeks. Right. It's to, you know, have a sports one. You know, I do a wrestling one with a friend of mine. The Saturday one, last Saturday was my last episode being on there, and it's gonna let those three run it, and just have different things. Like, even if you say, yo, I had an idea for a podcast, go ahead. Yeah.
do your thing. You know, if you're talking about politics, DJing, whatever you want to do, it's like, you see how I'm already like, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to fill in the dates and put in the YouTube page. That's why we were discussing a couple days ago, even uniting the YouTube page and all like that. Your YouTube page has the sketch comedy. Is there anything else on there, or is just that on there?
Yeah, well, the YouTube page that I was talking to you about is the Front Yard Theater.
You gotta send me the
page.
link.
I will send you the link, and I am working on launching some of my own content, but that's all. That's all in the works.
What I was going to tell you too, when you that May, and I'm hoping for the best, even if I've never been there, or maybe not, the spot might shut down, the Olympian.
Right.
Do you agree that, I mean, us as entertainers should stick together more than ever?
Oh yeah, for sure. Collaboration right now is key. I mean, there's this whole debate going on who's essential, who's not essential, and unfortunately, when it comes to the artists, we've been deemed not essential. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, I mean, right now we're worried about our venue being closed. There's no concerts. There's no, gatherings of any kind. I mean, even as a DJ, I do my little DJ stuff for weddings and stuff like that. I haven't had a single event since March 17th. So that's just a bunch of gear sitting in my house, a bunch of investment, and
same thing as me. I'm trying to figure ways out to use it.
Yeah.
Online.
No, I mean, this is the best thing. We had talked at one point at the beginning of the pandemic. Everybody who was a DJ or who had aspirations to be a DJ all of a sudden became a Facebook Live DJ, and they were DJing every Friday. And I remember telling you, I mean, I feel like the market is saturated with that, but I also at that time didn't think that we'd be having this conversation at the end of August, and nothing would nothing. There's nothing. There's any event that I've had scheduled, even up to this year, they're all being pushed, and the ones that I have at the beginning of 2021, they're crossing their fingers, like, hey, we'll let you know, we'll keep you in the loop. But I have a lot of events that are just moving straight to 2022. It's almost
really?
Yeah.
They saying F21?
Yeah, I mean it's so much uncertainty, and so many people are waiting for some sort of a vaccine or something like that.
Yeah, I heard there's a good chance October. They're looking at October for it, but I mean, nothing is.
Yeah. Again, if in October we get a vaccine and people get some sort of like clear picture, like, hey, there's a vaccine, hey, there's therapeutics, hey, that we have an answer to this, so be it. But right now, I mean, people don't have an answer on anything, and just recently they stopped doing the stimulus package, they stopped doing all of that stuff, so people are really like, a wedding is a big thing for people. It's a big expense. There's not a wedding out there, even on the low end. You're talking about $30,000-$40,000.
It's funny that you even mentioned, like, my cousin, he was supposed to get married in April.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing happened, so they were trying to because his now wife, because they ended up getting married the first day of summer, and they were trying to do it before their mother passed away, and the mother passed away a couple of days when the actual date was supposed to happen. So the sad thing about it is, if they went through without the pandemic, if it went through, the mother would have got to see her daughter married before she passed, but unfortunately she wasn't able to. But it was me as a DJ who loves music and has that itch, like if it was crack type of thing. He ended up doing the Zoom.
Right.
And I even hit him up. I'm like, yo, do you want me to play some music while you wait? He didn't respond back. And then as we're sitting there, I'm just on the Zoom. I'm like, screw that. I'm just going to play music. If he tells me stop, then I'll stop and all. And then it's just having that itch. And then the people were enjoying the music. And I'm like, oh, my God, I missed that. Right. Like the DJ in front of a crowd, and then what you love, what you're doing, and they're appreciating because they love it just as much.
Right.
Like just recently, a friend of mine had a baby shower when they asked me to do a quick mix, so they gave me the list of the songs and I did my little mix to it, and then I got the text the day of the party like, yo, they loving this mix over here. I'm like, you would love it even more if I was DJing, but I mean, you know. And then the hard thing about it is the DJ even live is copyrights, so they shut you down. Like I had plenty of people watch me on Facebook Live. It's like, yo, it's muted. I can't hear you. What's going on? Blah blah blah. And I'm getting these copyright. Next morning, YouTube sends me a whole bunch of emails of copyright. So it's like, it's really hurting even if anything, the DJ. Yeah. Because if you're an artist and you put your music out, You know, you have the rights to it.
And the thing is, like Facebook Live and YouTube, they are so. Like, they're so gung-ho about cracking down on that stuff that they're not recognizing you and I, we pay a lot of money for our subscriptions for this music. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So we technically kind of own.
Yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, to do a live DJ set.
Yeah, we're not selling anything.
I think we have the right to that.
I definitely agree.
But but then you got these places cracking down. So it's like, you want to get yourself out there while being told that you have to be locked in a room, but then they just make it hard.
I think that what they should do is they should, right before you go live, they ask you a couple of questions. Yeah. Do you own the rights to this? Like say you're about to go live and you want to add like a tip jar or whatever the case is. You want them to pay for this and that. Let you give you that option to charge, and then ask the question: do you own the rights to this music? And then if you say no, then he's like, okay, then you can't charge. Yeah. If you do own the rights, then yes, you can charge and go on like that. They give us that option.
And they could even go a step further and be like, do you have one of these subscriptions? Are you a DJ and do you have one of these subscriptions? Because they know what Beatport is. They know what BPM Supreme is. They know what all these things are.
And that's even a great point. Because at the end of the day, all we're doing is, like, we're promoting ourselves, but you're promoting the music as well, Right. It's like, we're doing you guys a favor. It's just as much, man. I know when I used to listen to mixtapes growing up, it only encouraged me to want to know more about this rapper or go buy the album such and such and like that. It wasn't the end all be all. Like, if I heard a Biggie or song on a DJ SNS mixtape and shit, I'm like, I don't need to buy the album because it's there. No, because at the same time, most DJs don't play. Well, at least not me. I don't play the whole record and all like that. I'm mixing it up and I'm like, yo. So you want to hear a record? You don't want to hear me yelling on this shit. So you're gonna go find that record and listen to it clean. So it's like, I don't understand. I think, but you're right. They should have that. They should have something that gives the DJ, or at least a YouTube for music or something for DJs, like something like they got. And you saying how we have to adapt to the environment and situation. Shouldn't they do the same thing?
Oh yeah, of course. But I mean, let's let's look at the situation honestly. I mean, right now they're telling every small restaurant, every mom and pop restaurant, every small bodega and boutique and retail store, hey, you got to be closed, you got to have social distancing, you got to do this, you got to do that. What makes Walmart safer than any of those places? What makes McDonald's safer than any of those places? McDonald's, they haven't closed, not even, they closed maybe a month.
Are they open inside?
They're not open inside unless you're picking up delivery and stuff like that, but I mean,
I get what you're saying. I always thought that, if you want to make things better, shut down everything for a week or two and watch how it improves. You're right. I never had to wait in line to go inside Walmart, and I've been there 2 or 3 times in the last month and all like that. But Guitar Center, there'll be a long ass line of waiting, and only 3 people can go in and all. I even asked that. They were saying that the bigger the store, the more capacity they can bring in. But I'm like, okay, I get it, but I don't, because it just takes one person to have it to pass it along. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, where the guy just keeps touching people and he becomes them. That's all it takes, a quick touch, a quick sneeze, or whatever the case is. Like, so I do believe that they should have shut down a long time ago, and you would have had a better results. But by you like not shutting down this part and shutting down this, and it just causes chaos, and we're all.
I mean, I think all of it is political. All of it is politically driven. I mean, a few weeks ago, even when we went out to the beach, you know, I had heard reports like if you're outside, if you're in the sun, if you're this and that, it's safe. It's, you know, it's much safer than being indoors. Yet I was out on the beach, and they had people like security guards walking around telling people they got to put on their mask while sitting in the sand. You know.
Yeah. They were telling me when they first opened up, they were like, you don't have to, but if you'll get fined if a cop finds you, they'll find you and all like that. And it's like, I don't.
And none of us want to deal with this mess, but you know. Listen, I wear a mask to be respectful and to be courteous to the people around me.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a case to be made. We're in the United States. There's a case to be made. Hey, if somebody wants to get the virus, like, you know, I saw reports of people throwing like coronavirus parties to just get the virus, get over it, just you know, just be done with it. And I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the price of freedom, you know? Like, freedom means you're free to do what you want, you know? And ultimately, we did all the lockdowns, we did everything, and I feel like we're at this point where it's just like we're just headed towards herd immunity anyways. You know, like, at this point, so many people... We're in Florida. Florida has over 400,000 cases.
Yeah.
And, you know... The lockdowns didn't stop that because all this happened after the lockdowns.
But the thing about the lockdown, I mean, how thorough was the lockdown? Like, I was out, you know, I wasn't out partying and nothing like that. But you're like, oh, curfew at this time. It was like 3 a.m. and I'm out, and I'm not being look at me, I'm a tough guy and fuck this curfew. Not aware.
Right.
And I'm driving and I'm getting a text, you know, it's a curfew. I'm like, oh, there is. Oh, and I've seen a cop and he just passed by me, and so it's like. I mean, how much lockdown really was we?
Right.
You know, and I think that's the biggest part of the problem. And here's the other thing that frustrates me at the end of the day is why a lot of people, I think, don't care, because what's really shut down? Like, who's really hurting? It's us.
Yeah.
The bartenders, the DJs, the performers, you know, the entertainers, where they all, like, look down at us anyway.
Yeah.
Saying that go get a real job, not realizing this is our job.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, restaurants are open, you know, business is still open.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's hurting the most is us, because it's like...
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that was the point I was trying to make about the Walmarts and the McDonald's and stuff like that. The people who are hurting are the people in the struggle. Because, like... Yeah, restaurants are open, but the ones that are surviving are the ones that have the bread to survive.
Yeah, like the chains.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of like mom and pops that, you know, like I said, man, I've had to do everything that I could do to make some scrap during this time. So I've been Uber driving, I've been Postmating, I've been doing deliveries, and I saw a lot of small mom and pop businesses make the investment to, you know, put up plastic screens everywhere, to put up this and to put up that, to operate at 50% capacity.
Which all that still costs money to do.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They made that investment to run at 50% capacity. Now, like, I've worked in restaurants a long time. There's no restaurant out there whose business model is we can be half full all the time. Like, as long as we're half full, we're okay. Like, every restaurant, man, before coronavirus, you know, if you went to a poppin' restaurant and they were busy and they had to wait, like, they'd start moving tables and scrunch people out into a corner and do whatever to make sure that they had the butts in the seats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
they never wanted to turn anyone away.
Exactly. And then I see, you know, during the coronavirus, I saw these small places make their investment to do their 50%, to just do 50% and do the deliveries and takeouts, whatever. And then the governor did tell them, like, not the governor, the mayor of Miami-Dade shut it down and told these people, no, you can only do takeout and delivery now. So when that happened, that's when I saw a lot of places like, no, we're just closed now, because it's not even worth it for them. You know what I mean? Like the competition on Uber Eats and Postmates and stuff like that is so much that, even if you told these small mom and pops, okay, you could only do Uber Eats. Well, now you're putting them onto a platform where there's so much competition that they're gonna stay open for 10 orders a day.
And that's the thing about it. Normally, mom and pop stores don't even open till like past 9, and they had a curfew where they couldn't. They had to shut down earlier. Like you got the big stores, like the restaurant like Flanagan's closed at 9.
Right.
So, and then I remember I went to, I don't know if it was a mom and pop, because it's kind of a chain on Jimmy John's.
Right.
And I don't know if it changed lately, but it was maybe a month ago. I'm running over there because no one near here, and it's only 6 o'clock, and I'm like, trying to open the door, like, hey man, what's going on? And they're like, it's closed. I'm like, what do you mean it's closed? It's 6 o'clock, and I'm like that. Like, nah, the curfew and this and that.
Yeah.
So imagine for mom and pop store, and it's damn, it's sad because you are right. If I do go on Uber Eats, I mean, the first thing that crosses my mind is the McDonald's and this, and because I'm familiar with it. Not that they're the best, but it's just, quick chat. And I'll look at other different ones, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Do I really want to take this risk to even try these,
Right. Yeah, because that's the whole thing, not only with Uber Eats, but with online purchasing in general. Like you were talking about Guitar Center earlier. I love that Guitar Center is still around.
Yeah.
Because especially for a music store, like it's great to go in there and actually see what you're buying. Mm-hmm. On Uber Eats, like you said, McDonald's, Papa John's, like all these name stores, but you don't know David's Mamma Mia Pizza.
Yeah.
And it might be the best pizza out there. It's just when you're sitting there weighing, like your options, you don't want to spend $10 and the delivery fee and all that. You don't want to spend all that money, and then you get crap food, because it's happened to all of us.
Yeah, it happened to me a couple of times where I'm not even worth the risk. It just recently, I tried another spot, and it was actually really good. It's called Mac and Chess. It's basically a macaroni spot. They put macaroni on everything, type of thing.
That's where I used to work, bro. That's my boy's restaurant.
Oh, yeah? All right, then on 8th Street?
Yeah.
I ended up driving over there, because they don't deliver here.
Yeah.
One time I had the delivery. I forgot that I was at my cousin's house, and I put that address and then delivered over there.
Oh, wow.
I was like, it was a chaos, but then I realized, they don't deliver here, so I ended up driving over there. To me, it's great, but that was a risk that I took. And then sometimes when I do it, it fails.
Right.
And a lot of times it fails.
Well, listen, man, I'm really happy to hear that you enjoyed Mac and Chess, because I helped open up that store, and that's a spot that's suffering what we're talking about right now. They've had to lower their hours, and my friend who's the owner has had to literally like cut back on employees, on staff, on everything, just to make margins. Like he's not making money right now. He's just covering costs.
And I mean, I promoted it to the. We were supposed to have it the other day, but I was doing this whole juicing thing, so they were like, order it," and then I was just like, "No, I'm juicing right now. You're not gonna tempt me and all." But I told them next time I go to their house, I don't know when that would be, but I said I'll order it and all. The fries is amazing and like that, and then when they put the mac and cheese on it and like that, it's a heart attack waiting to happen, but it's like, what a way to go.
Hell yeah. Cool.
But at the end of the day, I mean, you came. Like how can we work together and build this? Like how can you and I work together, and I bring my team, you bring your team, we build this empire, so we don't let Corona screw us over and it only empowers us even more. Like how can?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I told you, right now I think we got to do everything that we can to stay relevant. I love the idea of your podcast. I've been following. The drinking podcast.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Or what are you drinking? I didn't even know you had those other podcasts, so I got to check that out during the week. But yeah, man, we just gotta keep working together, keep staying relevant. And one thing that we were talking about the other day that I wanted to touch upon with you today was definitely working with people that show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Miami. No disrespect, this is my hometown, born and raised, But Miami's full of people that are like, yeah, bro, yeah, let's do it. And then, they don't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, convince me to stay because I'm already 1 foot out the door and ready to fly out to LA. I was already looking online for photographers to do headshots, and I couldn't find that.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of photographers. The one contacted me, and I'm like, yo, I need headshots. And then, I'm looking at different headshots for acting and all, and then what you're showing me is outside, beautiful sky pictures. And I'm like, yeah, but I need headshots because I don't know how to take headshots, and I need you to help me get better. And it's hard to find that.
Well,
I type in LA, and I found like 100 of them.
Yeah, that one I'll send you a list. I can send you a list of photographers that dedicate themselves to headshots.
Well, yeah, I definitely need that and direction on that. So it's I want to work with like I had a meeting earlier today with a guy who said he wants to be a manager. He wants to manage groups, and he has 3 artists. And then he introduced me about this other one who's doing big numbers, for local artists. And I'm like, well, this is the guy you should focus on. And he's like, yeah, but hey, I'm like, this is the guy you need to focus on. Yeah. This is your Jay-Z. Those other people you want to work on, that's Beanie Single, that's Memphis Bleak, that's a million. This guy is going to take you to the next level and bring these artists you want to bring up. Yeah. So know where you're at. And then my attitude with him was the same thing, is show up and work. Like he works. I don't know what job. I think he's a security. And I told him, I said, the problem is your job. And I'm not trying to tell anyone to quit their job, but it causes pauses in a game that's 24/7. Yeah. You see what I did here? I'm just like, yo, we're talking. Might as well record this shit. If this is a good conversation, we might as well upload it. If not, then it's just between you and I.
That's for sure.
And and that's the attitude. And I told him, I was like, listen, man. And he goes, yo, but when you want to meet these guys, let's do it right now. He's like, yeah. I said, dude, tomorrow you go back to work. I don't know when you're going to be free again. You're free now. Yeah. Call them up and meet. And he said one of them lives in the neighborhood. So I'm like, let's go. And he was like, oh, you want to interview them? I'm like, yeah, I want to interview them. I want to see where their head's at. I said, we need to keep going. And he goes, yeah, but, and then he's telling me how one of the artists that, he has to, like, fight to record. And I'm like, why put yourself through that stress with someone who you have to fight to record when you have this one over here that that's doing numbers, and you show me his music video? You need to go find out what he doesn't know or what he doesn't have that you can bring to the table, and form that Voltron. It's exactly what it is. I'm here to help. You could, as you can tell, how I created this whole room. And that room right there is the radio station with the heat press. This is the recording studio. This is the green room. And then I set this up for the photo shoot.
Hell yeah.
I don't care. I turn in my whole house into a workshop.
Yeah.
All you have to do is come and work.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're working together, then, just work. If you just want to do your own thing, then okay, this is how much I charge. Pay me this and do whatever you want. But I'd rather just work together.
Yeah, for sure.
Put your money in your pocket and let's build.
It's funny. It's funny what you said to your friend who was working security, because we were talking about that the other day. You're like, hey, we started working on a song and you haven't been around to do the song and all that stuff.
Oh yes. He comes over here and shows me that he's wicked on the guitar. And then what he did sounds great, but he doesn't like it, and he wants to come back and fix it, which I thought it was sounding great, and then he never heard from him again. I'm like, damn. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. No, it was to your point of the work, man. And that's something that I've been... See, for me, my artistic stuff has always been like a hobby on the side because I got work. And it's hard to find a balance between like paying your bills and doing what you love. And that's what got me into the event business and DJing and all that stuff. Was for me, that was an opportunity to do something that I love doing while making money so that I could be free to do other things. And unfortunately, I have this work ethic, this thing about paying my bills. That's like,
I agree with you. I love paying my bills because I feel like an adult. I feel responsible. I mean, I'm never knocking anyone for that. I mean, cut you off, but go ahead.
No. Yeah, for sure. And I never felt that. I never felt like you judged me on that. But I'm saying from my own perspective, I feel like I've always put my mind in work, and this should be the work. Like this is work. It's just it's hard to manage that inside your mind, like, oh shit, I gotta pay my bill, I gotta pay my car payment, I gotta pay my apartment, I gotta pay this. And like I told you, I mean, for me, when we did that recording, shortly after I had that situation at my house, I had my parents separated and stuff, and kind of had everything flip upside down, and that just put me even more in a mindset. It's like now you gotta go build everything from scratch. Yeah. So you gotta work. I was working at Mac and Chess, helped them open that up. Opening up a restaurant, man, that's like 10, 12 hours a day type of job. I was the general manager there. And even my friend, after working with him for 2 years, I told him, listen, man, I got this DJing thing. I've been working on it for a long time as a side thing, but I think I want to pursue it legit. I think I want to pursue it as like my number one focus so I can focus on other things. And everything was going great until coronavirus hit. Yeah. And then I had that epiphany again not too long ago, because when coronavirus hit and everything stopped, my backup has always been like, well, if DJing doesn't work out, I always got restaurants. I could always go back into the restaurant industry. Well, now I'm in a situation where like DJing is closed, and guess what? So are restaurants. So I jumped into the Uber thing because my mindset was, gotta make bread, gotta make money. And
I did the Uber thing myself.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I don't know how you felt about Uber, but my Uber experience is like, I'm busting my ass 8-10 hours a day, and at the end of the week, it's like I'm doing that on the daily, and I'm making between $500-600 on a good week, and like that's just in Miami. That's not enough to cover rent and everything.
I mean, I love the Uber experience because of meeting different people,
for sure,
and hearing different stories. But yeah, the pay was, I don't know how is it now, because I did it when it first started in Miami, and when I calculated, I was making $500, $600, even up to $800. But then when you stopped and calculated how many times you had to do oil change and change your tires and gas and clean your car, it was like, it came to the point that I felt like, not remembering, but I thought I was making maybe $200-300, a week, like that, while damaging my car.
Right.
This is my third BMW. The first one got damaged because I had the car. I got it at, let's say, 60,000 miles, and less than a year, it ended up being 130,000 miles or something like that, just off the Uber thing and like that. So it did more damage than anything. I mean, I've seen that they improved it from my day, because now I believe when you're on a call, when you're on a ride, you still get alerts to pick up the next one.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have that in there. It was like, once that ride is done, then I used to, like, every night
pull in a parking lot.
Well, no, I would leave here, drive all the way up to US1, and then just drive straight like to the beach, and and just drive and wait for beep 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 beep. And
I've done that too, man.
Yeah.
I live in downtown, and when I first started Uber, I would just drive down Biscayne until I hit Brickell, then Coconut Grove, then South Miami, until I get those calls. It is better in the sense that it is a little bit more consistent, especially now during the pandemic. Excuse me. But I really, I'm with you, man. Like, once you start to add up all your gas receipts, once you start to add up my SunPass, when I was doing Uber,
that's another thing.
And then they tell you that they cover it, but Uber doesn't say, okay, here's your payment, put this away for SunPass because this is a toll reimbursement, and put this away for gas. They just pay you $5 for the ride.
Yeah.
And they say that they're reimbursing you for the tolls and the gas within that. So when you really look at it, that means that a $5 ride is what, like a $2.50 ride? At the end of the day? And that's not counting all the wear and tear. Because you're talking about the amount of miles that you put on your car. I bought my car in August, and I didn't really start doing Uber heavy until recently. and I'm already at 25,000 miles.
Yeah, it was.
Which when you talk about car payments and the depreciation of your car, like already at this point, my car is not worth what I'm paying for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I tell people, depending on your lifestyle, I wouldn't really consider that your main job. Have it there, like it's nothing wrong. Like I still have the Uber app there. Like I have.
It's great as a side hustle.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you got some
exactly.
time,
Yeah,
you want to make some money, perfect.
Like right now, like once you leave here, if you're not tired, you're not. And like I'll do a ride too. Like as I'm going home, just hit the thing. If I get alert, whatever, and maybe keep the flow going and then call it a day. But if this is your everyday job, then yeah, it's like I don't know. But like I was trying to say earlier, like why I built this whole thing here is because I remember in 2005 I was working at the UPS. Like I was doing the loading and unloading, and I was trying to set up for a car show, and I'm on the phone like trying to talk to the Miami-Dade to get the permits, to do the show and everything like that. I'm in the container and like with the boss and hey, hello, yeah, I'd like to make an appointment. Hello, I can't hear you. Yeah, I like to make it. Like, sir, you need to speak up. And I'm like, oh well, what time do you close? Because I need to come get permits. And like, oh, we close at 5. I'm like, damn, I don't leave here till 6. Yeah. So it's like your 9 to 5 interrupts things that you have to do because people, they have their 9 to 5 and they close at the same time too. Yeah. And I remember one time I had an hour lunch, and this was in Doral where I was working at the UPS, and I'm like, okay, my lunch, I'm going to run over to downtown to get the permits and run back here. And by the time I even got there, it was already like time to turn around and come back to work. And I ended up going and I ended up staying, and I just ended up saying, screw the job. I mean, I'm going to get fired. It was a temporary job anyway. And I had the epiphany is like, dude, it's like either you're going to go all in with this or give up, quit your dreaming and go do your 9 to 5. And that's the day that I stopped doing the 9 to 5 and I went all in. And I always said to myself, I wish I had somebody who can invest in me, but it never happened. And I had a friend of mine who, he passed away a while ago, but he told me, I will never forget this, It was that night I was on the phone with him, and he told me, he's like, dude, you need to succeed because I can't do it because I have kids. I have a wife and a kid. I need to work. I need to do this and that. You need to succeed because I know if you succeed, we all succeed. Because I know that you don't have, and he wasn't insulting me like I don't got no girl, no kids. He was just like, I know that you can take these risks that I can't because I have 5 kids and a wife, and I got to make sure bills are paid. You can take these risks, and he knows when I take these risks and I succeed, I'm going to bring everyone on my back, and which is true. Like, why not? So that's where this whole thing comes about, where I always put that in my head, and I'm like, well, I'm building this so you don't have to quit your job. Yeah. Keep your job so you can pay your bills, but you have your home, you have the warehouse, you have this, whatever the case is, to come create. Yeah. You want to go make a beat, you want to have a recording artist, you want to sing this and that, you want to do a podcast, you want to do a little green screen video, whatever the case is, you want to do whatever, you want to DJ on the radio, boom, boom, boom. It's like, it's not me, hey, I'm going to charge you X amount of X, Y, D, just come put in the work. Yeah. I guarantee you put in the work and I put in the work, and 2 or 3 other people do the same thing, and we're all promoting the same thing. You see the growth. Yeah. I've seen the growth with the show, the What Are You Drinking? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I realized during this Corona thing is like it was spending all this time Ubering, and I'm like, man, I'm not even making a fraction of what I make DJing, so to speak, and it I came to realize that doing Uber. And I mean, no disrespect. Like, a job is a job. I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm grateful that I can do anything, especially right now. But sometimes we get so desperate. We think to ourselves like, oh, I got to change my situation from one day to the next, that we make bad decisions.
I completely agree with you. I've done that a million times.
Yeah, and I really felt that. Like, I really felt like, we had just come off of the show, and making this show, I was doing 50% of the editing. I was doing 100% of the shooting on my end. And like these are all skills that make me more than an Uber driver.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, that's why I said at the beginning, we just have to continue to do it and adapt and be innovative, because there's ways for us to continue to do what we're doing and have it be profitable. We don't have to just stop doing everything that we love to chase a job and to chase paper.
I definitely agree with that.
And I'm not saying that like I said, man, I'm blessed to be able to do Uber. I'm blessed to have been able to do Uber. Shoot, like 10 years ago, during 2008, when we went through a recession, Uber wasn't even like a possibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you were working in certain industries then, you had to just find another industry.
Yeah. Again, like you said, the blessing of even with this whole coronavirus is that there is still jobs that you don't even have to apply for. You just have to meet the recommendation, which is not that hard to meet, and boom, there you go. And like that, there are opportunities out there. Still are opportunities. Sometimes, again, I say coronavirus is a blessing because it wakes the beast in you.
Yeah.
It's kill to be killed.
Yeah.
Not
only that, I mean, we were talking about how harsh the lockdowns were. I believe in yin and yang. I believe that every good has a bad and every bad has a good. Truthfully, the lockdowns have been economically tough, but mentally and spiritually, I think they've been good, because how many times, I don't know about you, but how many times in your life did you say, man, I just wish I could just take a break for a month or for 2 months?
Yeah. I mean,
we have it. We have a reset. We literally have a reset period.
It was. You're right. You said that, because I would always say, outside my house, everybody was working out. Everybody was walking. Everybody was walking their dog. They were with their family. The family time, riding their bike. So it was those people. I looked at those people and say, those are the people who said, if I had the time, if I only had the time, I would do this, and that. And they had the time, and they did work out. They did spend time with their family. They did do so. Yeah, there was a blessing in disguise of that. And I mean, yes, there's a yin and yang. There's a negative and a positive towards everything. So a lot of people took the positives. A lot of people went crazy and took the negative. The podcast started because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, I did my first original content video media during the coronavirus.
What was that?
Was the series that we produced for the Front Yard.
For the YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because while we were doing that, the people that were involved, the people that knew, they'd be like, oh man, Mike, wow, you're so good with the editing program. You're so good with this and that. You should work for Telemundo, or, like, people pay you a lot of money to do this for them. And I would tell people, I'm like, look, from 2004 to 2008, all I did was help people produce video content for their online magazines, for their documentary series, for this and that. And the enjoyment that I got out of that was nothing compared to the enjoyment I got from doing this project, because it was my content.
Yeah.
Like, it was a creative content. I mean, look, even now, that has led me to some opportunities where a couple weeks ago I was working on a documentary that I can't say too much about, but it's an up and coming documentary with a really great director. And even that, like, I was there. Yeah, I was getting a paycheck, but I don't want to say bored, because anytime you're working with camera equipment and you're producing something, it's always fun. But, I was missing out on that storytelling, that creative aspect of it. That's what I love. Like, it, in an ideal world,
exactly what you're talking about.
In an ideal world, if I could dream, and make my dreams come true, I would have a studio and I'd be producing entertainment for the masses all the time.
And how long have you been doing that creative part of it, of just storytelling and putting those pieces together? Like when did it realize you and it hit you of, damn, I love doing this?
Man, you know, I'm going to tell you that since I was 15 years old, that's all I've ever wanted to do. And I've always just gotten lost. It's like I said before, man, like...
Of the art of storytelling?
Yeah, man, I've always wanted to do that. When I was in high school, I was part of drama club. I was part of speech and debate, and we were always creating our own stuff and always creating, our own content. And then I studied theater in FIU. Same thing, always. I was always in a show or producing a show.
But let me ask you something. You say you studied theater in college, FIU.
Yeah.
What is it that you've learned that we may not know about the whole theater, movies, and all? Like, what can you teach us right now? Because I feel like I know it all, but I know that not only do I think I know it all, well, I know it in the music world, but I always know in the back of my mind I don't know it all, and I want to be taught. Like I think I told you that the other day. I want to be taught.
Yeah.
So,
what could I teach you? Well, I'll say this. It goes along the lines of what we're talking about. One thing that I think stops a lot of people from creating video content or even theatrical content and stuff like that, and it even goes down to improv, is writing. A lot of people tell themselves, oh, I can't write, oh, I'm not really that type of a writer, and this and that. And the truth is a lot of these things write themselves once you sit down and you put the pen to the paper.
it's like working out. The hardest thing is to start.
Yeah, basically, man. And like I said, it goes into improv as well, because when you're improvising, okay, so we talked about the first rule of improvising is yes and. You always want to say yes. But if it's just two people just saying yes and, yes and, yes and to everything, it becomes a little bit monotonous and it becomes boring, because you have to add the excitement of either the stakes are really high or there's some sort of conflict. You know what I mean? And it's hard to create conflict when you're always agreeing with one another.
Yeah.
But the conflict is what drives the scene. The conflict is what makes things interesting.
But can a yes still involved in conflict? I mean, like what I was saying earlier, like, oh, you punched me in the eye. Yeah, you did. But next time I'm gonna get you. Like, can it still involve in conflict by still agreeing with you?
Yes, because see, okay, you punched me in the eye. Instead of me saying no, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying yeah, you did hit me in the eye, and
say yeah, you did hit me in the eye, and so that's why I've kidnapped your cat.
Yeah, there goes
what I mean?
The conflict.
Now I've introduced the conflict of, well, now your cat is my hostage, and I still agreed with you.
Yeah,
but I had conflict, as opposed to, yeah, you hit me in the eye and it really hurt.
Yeah,
like that doesn't lead you anywhere. That's not exciting.
Yeah, because that's kind of saying the same thing this person said. You hit me in the eye. Yeah, my eye hurts. Your eye hurts, something like that. So you're just kind of repeating what he's saying in a different words and like that. And now when you're introducing, came at the cat. Now it's like, oh,
right. And that not only does that add conflict, but now that adds urgency, because now that your cat is in imminent danger right now, because you punched me in the eye a year ago.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, what are you going to do to save your cat? And
that actually draws it draws the audience in, because what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Is he going to harm the cat? Are you going to come protect the cat? So it does do something I'm trying to teach, my people around of.